Hey folks, Ash from BeingSwenglish here, and if you saw the news yesterday, you're probably aware that Sweden might be about to enter some form of lockdown like other countries in Europe. Many of us here are really sad to hear this, especially on the basis that lockdowns all around the world have not really been shown to actually make much of a difference, especially when schools are open anyway, and you've got hundreds of kids spreading COVID anyway. Scientists around the world have questioned the value of lockdown besides killing the economy and destroying local business, destroying careers, and also people's mental state. It's had a major impact on people, certainly my friends and family in the UK, being stuck at home, especially with multiple kids, and again, the kids being banned from going to school and the schools being closed, and the impact that that has on their education. Homeschooling is just not anywhere near as effective as being schooled by a teacher in a classroom, by other kids, surrounded by motivation that makes you want to learn. And so that's really sad. But again, the mental state, being locked down in your homes, not being able to just go to the shops, not being able to go out to a restaurant, to a bar, to socialize and see your friends and family, that has a major mental impact. And I don't think we've really seen the true consequences of that yet. I don't think we will, probably for years to come. And I think we'll see depression rising and suicide rate increasing as well over the coming times, because people that locked themselves in their homes prior to COVID are now feeling even more isolated. And then there's the older generation as well, of course. I feel so sad for my grandma at 93 years old. She is probably living through the last years of her life now. It's an awful thing to say, but she's 93. She's in a great medical and mental state. But, how sad that the last few years of the elderly's lives will be lived in captivity, stuck in their homes, feeling that they're not allowed to leave because they might die. And so now Sweden has made a bunch of proposals that will see this new, what they're calling the COVID law over here, the ability for the government to force the closure of businesses, which they weren't able to do before. This new law lets them close businesses like restaurants, bars, museums, and other retail industries. And what the proposals say is that they're going to allow the closure of such businesses, and it's in for consultation at the moment. So the government has made these proposals. The proposal consideration time closes on February the 26th. And if they're granted at that point, then the government have to actually act on it within a week. And that could mean that Sweden becomes the next country avoiding a third wave by going into lockdown. But the reality is we've not had a single lockdown in Sweden. The rates are high here. Sweden has a fairly elderly population in comparison to the rest of the world. And the care homes, a lot of people in care homes here died. Sweden have been very honest with their figures as well, probably unlike most other countries in the world. And that's, Sweden also has one of the best medical systems in the world, the best healthcare systems in the world. And that's why, again, I think the rates are higher here, because Sweden has been very honest and upfront about their figures. Let's face it, when it comes to comparing world meters, the coronavirus statistics, you just can't really compare them accurately. Can you really compare a country in, I'm sorry to say it, but Eastern Europe or even China with the figures presented by the Swedish government? I don't think so. And that's why you don't see many countries in that top 10 that really should be there if they were honest with their figures. So, and considering that Sweden didn't go into lockdown, they're not at the top of that list. They're not, I don't think they're in the top 10 anymore, actually. So even if you could accurately compare those figures, and Sweden, have not manipulated figures as many other countries have, they're still not at the top. And yet they've never had a lockdown here. People have just been sensible. So I really hope that this doesn't go down. In fact, if you look at the comments, one of the experts that's involved in this consultation said there must be a third wave. Well, that's not very scientific. There must be. There's no reason for a third wave necessarily if people are careful, but also these multiple waves seem to be largely due to variants of coronavirus, not simply it spreading again, but simply that a new variant arrives and that prompts a next wave. Let's hope there isn't another wave. Let's hope there's not a lockdown here, because we are all getting on with our lives. and we're supporting the Swedish economy and supporting the hardworking business owners. And as I understand it, the hospitals are nowhere near at capacity here. And they even built mega hospitals which were just sat empty. Same in the UK, I believe. They had a system in the UK where they stood up these, was it Nightingale hospitals? Aren't they empty? Who knows? Anyway, comment below of your thoughts on lockdowns, coronavirus, COVID. I'm sick of hearing about it personally. I'd rather the press and media start talking about Brexit again. Anyway, cheers, folks.